Fortnite. It's loved, it's hated, but above all, it's the best crossover of characters and properties into one singular franchise. Wait, that can't be right. The title of crossover king surely has to be given to Nintendo's classic Super Smash Bros., no? Well, I'm not so sure. There was no world where I would have envisioned having to consider Fortnite as the best example of a colliding cast of IPs. But it's been building its case over the years from its continuous implementation of new mythic items alongside its respective cast of character skins to go along with the events. Super Smash Bros., on the other hand, has been a staple example of crossover heaven, where characters from everybody's favorite series would duke it out in an arena that you can't get away from callback references in, that be through items or even the very stages you play on. Fortnite has a slightly different way of letting people rep their favorite series, and in this approach could possibly be more engaging and giving players more ways to express themselves in the franchises they love. In this video, I'll be showing off the different ways that both Fortnite and Super Smash Bros. Execute their biggest strength in being a massive crossover of iconic IPs, and how Fortnite might just be pulling ahead in terms of who does it better. From the Batarang to lightsabers, Fortnite has been on a roll in adding new and fun-to-use mythic items for players to take advantage of ever since the introduction of the Infinity Gauntlet into the game all the way back in 2018. Reaching their hand into the bag of seemingly every series out there, Fortnite was able to hit on numerous characters and properties that many players are able to identify with and show off. Marvel fans rejoiced as they were able to win with many of their favorite weapons they'd seen in the movies, and viewers of shows like Dragon Ball Z and My Hero Academia were finally able to utilize the powers of their respective iconic characters. Not to mention the new Attack on Titan crossover that I'm sure will come with some sort of clever implementation of staples like the ODM gear and hopefully the Titans themselves. Fortnite is one of the first and only successful iterations to go down the avenue of a franchise like Super Smash Bros. Part of the draw that got consumers to engage so heavily with Super Smash Bros. Was the idea that players no longer had to envision being able to pit characters like the big villains Bowser and Ganondorf up against one another. With how many characters are on the roster in the completed Smash Ultimate, there are endless versions of this concept of fantasy matchups. You'll have a large amount of players gravitate to choices like Link or Donkey Kong because they're more or less identifiable by most. But there are also niche choices like Joker and Isabelle that really prove just how inclusive Nintendo has been in rallying their beloved IPs into many's favorite party game. By these games providing such a large but also dense list of potential ways to resonate with a given player, it allows for many to feel like they're the best one-stop shop games for variety. Fortnite at this point has become a pop culture icon, and it isn't going to slow down in using these events to add to the already monumental list of features involving characters and abilities everybody knows and loves. Purely competitive portions of these games aside, both present fun and blatantly overpowered opportunities that allow the player to feel like they're in control. And when these incredibly powerful abilities are used, it is almost never without a clever reference to the origin of the character or event involved, which is almost guaranteed to resonate with the player. Who didn't have their idea of a picture-perfect game where using Goku's Kamehameha felt earth-shattering and over-the-top destructive? And it's the fact that it's possibly Fortnite who has the best iteration of this ability, even tracing back through the history of all the Dragon Ball titles, that makes people attribute proper use of it to that very game and not much else. Similar to this idea, Super Smash Bros. Has nailed making the most appealing version of a character they choose to include in their deep roster of fighters. Characters like Little Mac, Simon, and King K. Rool all look and feel the best they ever have. And traditional fighting game players may even admit, Ken, Ryu, and Terry all seem to have been done their best justice in a fighting game that isn't even their own. How the fighter feels to play in the scope of fighting games is less of what's important here. It's more how a character like Simon's design is treated in providing a seamless transition for the fans of that franchise to understand what's going on. With so many blatantly overpowered abilities rampaging these games sometimes, it's easy to ask if this is the proper way to approach playing the game. Who knows? There are certainly the competitive scenes that are vocal that they want to be as far away from these interactions as possible, which is fair. I even enjoy it most on that level myself, as I've expressed my love for Melee before, but it's undeniable that there are incredible presentations of the cornucopia of franchises that's surely criminal to leave underappreciated. Super Smash Bros. Has always been everybody's first idea of crossovers done right, which is why it may feel confusing for a Battle Royale title like Fortnite to be considered a crossover itself. And it's this point where the similarities start to end, and the different approaches that each of these games take towards implementing crossovers start to become apparent. The elephant in the room is Super Smash Bros. Is a fighting game, while Fortnite is a shooter battle royale. What this means for crossovers is that, in the process of implementing properties from all sorts of franchises, they are forced to execute them differently purely based on the genre of games they are. Fighting games embody offering player expression and how they want to go about winning a match. So the route Super Smash Bros. Takes in designing a character involves a multitude of factors, including how they mold a character's personality to fit their moveset. Fortnite being the same game no matter what crossover is shown off in the new season, essentially forces its hand into how much they can draw outside the lines when adding new flashy abilities to their game. Sure, you can add Deku's Smash as a new option to your arsenal of weapons in Fortnite, but at the end of the day, there's still plenty of gunfighting over the course of the match that doesn't change all that dramatically. Now, it sounds like Super Smash Bros. Does it better solely off of the ability to get diverse in movesets from character to character, but it's not quite a wrap that easily. For Fortnite to be able to keep the core of its original gameplay, it allows a featured crossover to feel like it enhances and freshens up an already great experience. The previously mentioned Fortnite crossover being Attack on Titan and Eren Yeager, the potential gameplay mix-up with the addition of the ODM gear still utilizes the base gameplay and gun battles to a large degree, keeping that core gameplay that is so fluent to so many players. Some abilities could definitely feel a bit unfair at times, but the replayability and ease of getting in and out of games lets you run it until you get to be that main character, overpowering every player around you, truly embodying what it feels to wield the Infinity Gauntlet, for instance. With every aspect of Super Smash Bros. Being one character's specialized moveset against another to accomplish a rather simple goal, the game can't quite capture this staggered pace of seeing new features added to an already deep core gameplay. Character releases in a fighting game like Smash Bros. Have the potential to be entirely underwhelming, especially when they're permanent staples to the game that isn't actively updated. The only reason that is the case is because the character now has to compete against an already deep cast of other fighters and is always going to get the comparison treatment. Sure, there are many in the boat of simply appreciating an addition to the roster, but there are many who will discard a new fighter like Banjo and Kazooie simply for its lack of competitive viability. Whereas with Fortnite having that staggered implementation of its events, it allows for each one, no matter the scale or how game-changing it was compared to the last, to leave a profound impact on the players as they drop into that season. I'm willing to wager that the ODM gear is going to be one of the most welcome additions to the list of mythic items Fortnite has seen. It will likely feel much less explosive and dramatic compared to Deku's Smash, for example, but since being revolved around making it interact with Fortnite's core gameplay, it will thrive in being yet another seamless crossover. All things considered, it's almost impossible to truly draw a line in the sand when it comes to whether Smash Bros. Or Fortnite executes the idea of crossovers better than the other. But it's clear that there is no longer a single series putting up a fight for King of the Hill. Fortnite's consistency in that quality and quantity of these features throughout the release of season after season proves that they are only going to continue to grow into the one-stop shop to experience your favorite franchises in the realm of a video game. There still may never be something quite like the thorough and keen build of a given character's moveset in the newest release of Super Smash Bros. Though. I didn't even mention Final Smashes, but so many iconic characters truly allow their biggest fans to embrace all the references they're nostalgic for. Regardless of who's on top, I'd say crossovers done right are always welcome, and I'm extremely excited to see more games like Fortnite step up to the plate. If you enjoyed this video, please check out the rest of my channel and consider leaving a like and subscribing, as it really helps me out. Thank you.